Looking back at your preliminary task, what do you feel you have learnt in the progression from it to the full product? The progression from our preliminary task to our final film, Unknown, is noticeable in many ways, one of them being our improvement in camera shots and their professional look. In the preliminary task video, it is obvious that the camera was constantly handheld as it appears shaky and rough, which makes the video look unprofessional and immature. However, in the progression of our creation of the film, I learned the importance of a steady shot, and when comparing the two films, it is obvious Unknown contains much steadier, more professional and creative shots. Furthermore, the shots within the preliminary task were very basic, but by the time Unknown was filmed, I included a wide range and more advanced selection, including effective over-the-shoulder shots, extreme close-ups, establishing shots, and a much steadier and more professional-looking tracking shot. It is obvious our group gained large amounts of skills in the time between the preliminary video and the final film, and we were able to create a much more conventional professional final piece. In addition, it is obvious our preliminary task was edited hastily and without utilising all the tools Adobe Premiere Pro had to offer. For example, many of the transitions are immature and unsuitable, such as the swipe right across the screen. When compared to our final film, it is obvious I have learnt which transitions are suitable for the thriller genre, and where to have a quick sharp cut without transitions. The final film looks professional, as we avoided childish gimmicky transitions and instead opted for dissolves or sharp cuts respectively. Furthermore, the final film contains some quite impressive visual effects, such as the flickering blood jam on the hitman's hands, mimicking a vision that he's being tormented by. This would not have been possible when I first began working with Adobe Premiere Pro, as I was much less confident and able. Essentially, I learned both how to physically add the transitions, as well as when and where they would look best, and stay conventional to the genre. The music in the preliminary task was another downfall of it, and another thing I've learned and developed for Unknown. In the preliminary video, the music was not completely suitable for the situation the character found themselves in, and felt a bit out of place, almost like a decision that we hadn't put much thought into. However, I learnt the importance of the sound behind a film, especially the non-diegetic music, and it was obvious the music choice for Unknown was deliberate, very effective, and more conventional to the genre. Furthermore, from the preliminary task, it is evident my knowledge has improved in the area of mise-en-scène and the way it is used in real thriller films. To begin with, it is clear the costume was not deliberate or chosen purposefully in the preliminary task, as the characters involved wear their normal, everyday clothes, and nothing particularly conveys their characteristics. However, through watching other films of the genre, it is clear I learnt how important and relevant the costume of characters are, as it is obvious our final film contains thoughtful costumes which portray the character, for example Edward's suit and shirt, to convey his wealth and mystery. In addition, since we filmed the preliminary task, it came to my attention that a better setting was needed for our real film, since we just used our school for the preliminary film. I learnt how important setting is when adding tension and mystery to a film, and realised how much it can impact on an audience watching it. For this reason, the setting for Unknown was strongly debated and considered before we decided, and we chose something that was definitely conventional to the thriller genre. To conclude, since the preliminary task, I have learnt a huge deal about filming, editing and planning our film in order to make it look and feel more professional. When compared to the preliminary task, it is obvious my skills have improved in these areas, particularly using Adobe Premiere Pro editing software and choosing costume and setting.